We've actually had to turn our ad campaigns off. We're generating too many contacts. We don't have enough people to do follow-up.
That is insane when you think about there's multiple places like that where you have so many people wanting to receive discipleship, wanting to study the Bible with someone.
There are more people wanting to connect with us, to talk about Jesus. We just don't have people to do that.
Brian, thank you so much for being with us today. So I'm interested in a very specific topic, and I heard that you specialize in that topic. So many young people in our generation think about missions as something for older people, crazy people living in the jungle or on a lonely island, and unreached people living in those places. You have to go there with a kayak maybe, but the reality looks very different. And in our time, we have very different opportunities. So could you share with us what are those opportunities that we have today?
Yeah, well, I think there's still a place for trekking through the jungle, but and I've done that myself. But there are certainly some new opportunities now, and it's amazing what is happening in the world today. None of us are strangers now to what's happened with a media explosion, the mobile revolution that has put this device in every pocket in people around the world, and that there's no village you can go to, no mountaintop you can get to, where you're not going to find people carrying around this device with them. And through that, obviously, we have incredible opportunities to reach into the lives of people. I mean, get right before their eyes and before their ears, through social media, through messaging apps, through a variety of media forms.
Right. How are those opportunities, those devices that we all have and they all have, how can we use that? What are some practical ways how people on the field, especially amongst the unreached, are using those resources to get the gospel to them?
Yeah, well, the first thing that comes to mind is, media is nothing new. Media ministry is nothing new. We've had media ministry organizations for a long time. Typically, they've been broadcasting in from somewhere outside, sometimes far outside across the world. But now, thanks to the mobile, we have the opportunity right now to use media strategies from within the field. And this is what has really changed over the last several years now, is that we can bring those strategies that typically required special ministry organizations broadcasting from different places far away, and we can now move that onto the field, where we have people living among Muslims, living in Muslim communities, but they can take advantage of those opportunities with media.
And how does this look like in real life?
Yeah, well, the most exciting thing I think that's going on right now is what we call media to movements. And the idea is that we can leverage the reach of media, which is everywhere. We can leverage the power of advertising, which allows us to, with some degree of precision, reach a very particular audience with a very particular message. And so we can use that, and we can do that from anywhere on the field, through social media typically, and through placing ads directed at the right audience, understanding what the particular needs of that audience are, what are their particular concerns. We use a marketing term oftentimes called a persona. This idea of understanding who our audience is, and in our case, what is a journey towards faith for them? What steps would they be taking that would lead them towards faith in Christ?
Right.
And we choose our media in such a way that it will help them. It will help them take each step of that journey. And so that initial piece of media that we might reach them with, which might be an advertisement that we put out on Facebook, for example, or maybe on Instagram, we choose that very carefully to be something that is likely to resonate with people who may be seekers. They may be interested in the gospel already. They may not even know that they're interested, but they're dealing with something in their life. They're asking questions. Something is stirring inside of them. And when they see that ad, when they see that media, it strikes something in their hearts, and it causes them to think. And they what is that next step then? They want to take that next step. whether that's watching another video or it might be going to a website where they get some more information, or maybe downloading a Bible, for example, or maybe they just get a little passage of scripture to read that follows up on whatever the theme of that advertisement was.
Right.
And then we use that successive steps to try to lead them on a journey.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, they're confronted with something totally new to them.
Yes.
They're unreached. They have the name unreached for a reason, right?
That's right.
Something totally new. So, yeah, that's so interesting. And how do you deal with, like, I guess if you put an ad on Instagram or Facebook, there's not just one or two persons gonna respond if you like put the ad out for millions of people.
Right.
How are you dealing with the masses of seekers or interested people? You can't connect to all of them personally. How are you doing that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and this is one of the challenges that people run into when they typically begin to experiment with this approach. Is they wonder, will anyone respond? And usually the problem is too many people respond.
Really?
And so then how do we follow up with all of these people? And that's a difficult question. And there's some different approaches to that. One team, actually many teams now have tried chatbot. And what that chatbot allows them to do, the chatbot is an autoresponder. It is something that has been programmed, again, with our understanding of this particular culture and people, and what we think will be media that will interest them and will begin to address the life questions that they have, those stirrings that they have. It will begin a conversation with them. It will begin a chat. That's the name chatbot. Right. It will begin a chat with them, and as they answer questions, as they respond to that chatbot will lead them to different next steps depending on how they answer. And so all of this, of course, is based on our understanding of the culture. We're taking what we've already learned about the culture, and we're feeding that into this chatbot system that allows us to essentially have a conversation with them. But the chatbot can do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
When we're sleeping, it can continue to chat with people.
Wow.
And carry on those conversations. And of course, it can carry on many conversations all at one time as they interact with the chatbot.
Right. But this chatbot obviously can't make disciples, right? Like, I mean, he can't meet with the people and talk their personal issues over. Like, how do you find out which people are more than interested, who really want to study the Bible, follow Jesus, have someone to disciple them? How do you get to know who these people are?
Yeah, so the chatbot, and not all of these strategies are using chatbots, but in some cases those chatbots can help us respond to more people more quickly.
Right.
However that happens, though, we are using a series of responses of interacting with people online, digitally, again, typically through a messaging system of some sort, and identifying those who we think are really showing an interest in the gospel. And the idea is thinking of a funnel. The funnel is the best way of thinking of that. We're reaching a lot of people here at the top of the funnel with this message we're sending out very broadly. Right. And as we begin those conversations, and as we invite people to take steps, there are fewer and fewer people that want to keep going with that conversation.
Right. Yeah.
Just as it would be if we were having a conversation face to face with people.
Right.
If we speak with 100 people, 90 might be a little bit interested, and then of those 90, maybe another 20 will be somewhat interested, and they'll go the next step, and they'll continue that conversation a little bit more deeply, and then maybe 10 of those people will be very interested, and they'll want to continue going with you. It's the same thing. We're just able to do that in a digital format.
Wow.
In a way that happens much more quickly.
At a much greater scale, right?
At a much greater scale.
Yeah.
And so what used to take us, I would say, months, maybe even years to find people who were genuinely interested in carrying on a conversation, going deep and beginning to explore the scriptures, beginning to understand who this person Jesus is, we're able to find those same people now, sometimes in a matter of days, maybe even sooner than that. We're finding those people much more quickly and much more often, and we're generating those contacts with people so much more quickly. And so a lot of our work is still the same as it's always been.
Yeah.
We eventually move into a face-to-face conversation with people. That's the goal anyway. There are sometimes in certain situations we may keep it online for a longer period, or maybe even we may even go into a discipleship period with them online. But oftentimes the goal is to move into a face-to-face relationship as quickly as possible. And that's the same. Then we move into the same life on life. It's kind of messy, time consuming, but that's what discipleship is all about. It takes time, and we're not short-circuiting that. We're not taking shortcuts to discipleship. We're simply finding these people who are really interested in the gospel much more quickly, so that we can enter into more deep relationship with them.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you have like a story of this like system of reaching people and then filtering them down and then meeting them in person? Do you have like a story of that happening in real life?
Well, yeah, we have so many places where this is beginning to happen, and lots of lives being touched. One of the first places that we tried this was, I'll just say, in the Middle East, among a particular people group, and they had this problem initially of having too many people to follow up with, and this is actually how we developed this idea of the chatbot to do some response, to try to help them deal with this issue of having too many people to follow up with. So they designed this bot to converse with people, and that was going really well, but they were still having too many people to follow up with. And so they said, why don't we try to let this chatbot have a longer conversation with people, to make them go further down that funnel. Their goal was to say, can we find people, and not just who want to study the scriptures together, not just who want to explore Jesus for themselves, but can we find people who are ready to share with others, and go tell their friends or their family members and say, will you study this with me? Will you go on this journey with me?
Wow. So they weren't satisfied with just people who wanted to meet and get discipleship and study the Bible together. They had to filter it down even more.
They did,
Wow,
yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That is insane when you think about like that there's places, and I guess this is not just the only place, but there's multiple places like that where you have so many people wanting to receive discipleship, wanting to study the Bible with someone, and there's just no workers to follow up with them.
Yeah, we've even, we're at an event this week where we're getting a chance to connect with many people.
Right.
I think at least 2 times this week I've had conversations with people who've said, we've actually had to turn our ad campaigns off. We're generating too many contacts. We don't have enough people to do follow-up. So there are more people wanting to connect with us to talk about Jesus. We just don't have people to do that.
Wow.
And so
that is amazing.
It's a hard
and
problem to have
at the same time, right?
It really is. Yeah. We need more people. So what's exciting is we have this technology that can reach so many people in a shorter period of time, but we still need people to go to the field. We still need people who are willing to go live in these communities among these people, to learn their language, to learn their culture, and then be prepared to do follow-up.
Right. You said we need more people, which I totally agree.
We do.
What would you say as a final word? What kind of people can we use for that? What kind of people are we seeking to continue that kind of work?
Yeah, well, this is the interesting thing. We have more people than ever today who have experience with social media strategists. We have people with a marketing background. Maybe they've got skills in graphic design or photography or video. And maybe even now, we've got AI is beginning to become an interesting thing, artificial intelligence. And so people who understand these and have experience using these tools and these methods, they don't typically think of themselves as becoming missionaries, of going to the mission field.
Right.
But these are the people that we desperately need right now. We desperately need more people like this. We need content creators, people who are willing to make the kind of content that is going to really speak to people's hearts in their language and in a way that really connects with them well. We need people with marketing skills who can help us develop advertisements to reach people's lives. And we need people with IT skills. There are websites getting set up. There are Facebook pages getting set up, and we need technologists. There are systems that allow us to do follow-up with people and make sure that we're actually following up with all of the people that are reaching out to us.
Right.
And that takes technology. And so we need all of those people, not in some back office back home necessarily, but on the front line of missions.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds very different than taking a kayak to a lonely island.
Yeah.
Sounds much more related to our modern world.
It really is.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brian, for this interview, and hope to talk to you soon.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.